I want you to imagine something for a moment. Not a fantasy, not a movie scene. Just a quiet moment where it's just you and a woman who actually sees you. Not the version of you the world demands, not the image you're constantly compared to. Just you. The man who's trying, who's thinking, who's taking all these silent hits to his confidence because he's been taught that he has to just deal with it. And maybe you've been wondering why attraction feels like a locked door lately. Why women seem distant, unpredictable, hard to read. Why your effort feels unnoticed or worse, uninvited. And it leaves you in this strange place where you're trying to be patient, but you're also tired of feeling overlooked. So let me ask you something, gently, not accusingly. When was the last time a woman actually made you feel chosen? Not tolerated, not analyzed, chosen? Because here's the quiet truth most women won't admit out loud. We don't always make it easy for men. Not because we're trying to play games, but because we're trying to protect ourselves, test the energy, or see if you're the type of man who can lead calmly without forcing anything. Women watch more than they speak. And sometimes the things we wish men knew, the things we want to say, we don't. Either out of fear of appearing too eager or because we assume he should already know. But there's one specific truth, one secret, that most women genuinely wish they could tell older men, and yet they never will. Not because it's cruel, actually because it's vulnerable. Because saying it out loud would expose what we need, what we fear, and what we find irresistible. And that's what this video is about. Not pickup lines, not manipulation, not playing cold or aloof. Just real, grounded attraction psychology. Explained by a woman who understands men and wants them to stop feeling confused or invisible. Before we get into the specific secret, I want you to feel something. Clarity. Not pressure, not anxiety, just clarity. Because the moment you understand this principle, you'll stop overthinking your interactions with women. You'll stop trying to perform. You'll stop assuming you have to chase approval. You'll start to realize something far more powerful. Women respond to the energy you hold, not the effort you push. That's why some men who barely speak still attract attention, while others who try their hardest feel ignored. It has nothing to do with looks, money, or age. It has everything to do with presence. The way you move, the quiet choices you make, the way you show interest without grasping for control. And yet, this presence requires one thing every man struggles with at some point: letting things unfold rather than forcing them. This video isn't here to criticize you. It's here to explain what women notice, what we don't say, and how men, especially older men, can create connection without chasing, performing, or guessing. By the end, you'll understand the secret women wish they could confess, the one that reshapes everything you've been told about attraction. Take a breath. You're not behind. You're not failing. You're not invisible. You're just missing one insight, and we're about to walk through it together. 1. Women don't fall for effort. They fall for emotional gravity. Let me start with a question that might sting a little. Have you ever tried harder, only to be noticed less? If you have, you're not imagining it. And it's not because you're doing something wrong. It's because women don't respond to effort the way men think they do. Picture this scenario. You're interested in a woman. You're respectful. You text her consistently. You make plans. You show her you care. And somehow, the more you do, the more her energy pulls back. She becomes slower to respond. She seems distracted. She suddenly needs space. And you sit there wondering, what did I do wrong? How can effort push someone away? Here's the truth women rarely admit. Effort without gravity feels like pressure. Effort with gravity feels like attraction. Emotional gravity isn't dominance. It's not coldness. It's not being unavailable. It's presence, the way your energy lands. Think of it like this. A man who tries too hard feels like he's proving something. A man with gravity feels like he already knows who he is. Women aren't drawn to effort. We're drawn to that grounded inner steadiness. The man who isn't rushing. The man who isn't reacting. The man who isn't asking for permission to exist in her world. The man who moves with his own rhythm, not hers. Why? Because emotional gravity makes a woman feel safe. Without you ever having to say a word, it signals maturity, awareness, confidence that doesn't need applause. Here's the psychological insight behind it. Women are more responsive to emotional tone than actions. If your tone says, "I hope I'm enough," she feels tension. If your tone says, "I like you, but I'm still myself," she relaxes. So what's the solution? Stop leading with effort. Start leading with presence. Instead of over-explaining, simplify. Instead of quick responses, choose steady ones. Instead of chasing her reaction, anchor yourself in your intention. This doesn't mean withdrawing. It means offering interest from a grounded place. A place where you are choosing her, not trying to convince her. Because here's the twist most men never hear. Women notice how a man makes her feel before she notices what he does. And a man with emotional gravity makes her feel something rare. Curiosity, calm, respect. Attraction that deepens rather than spikes. So, let me leave you with this question, the one that opens the door to section 2. If women respond to your emotional gravity more than your charm, what do they really test when they pull back, hesitate, or become quiet? Because trust me, it's not what most men think. 2. Why she tests your calm more than your charm. Here's a question most men never ask themselves. Why do women sometimes pull away just when you think things are going perfectly? Think about it. You've been charming, attentive, maybe even thoughtful. You've been present. And then, suddenly, she's distant. Her energy shifts. She doesn't answer as fast. Maybe she seems distracted or even cold, and your instinct is to fix it, to call, text, reassure, or explain yourself. Stop. This is where most men fail. Not because they lack charm, but because they forget the most subtle, powerful truth about attraction. Women test calm over charisma. Let me paint a picture. Imagine you're on a date. Conversation flows. She laughs at your jokes. She leans in, looks at you with curiosity. Everything seems perfect until she pauses mid-story, glances away, maybe checks her phone. That little ripple of uncertainty appears. You feel it. Your stomach tightens. You want to say something witty, clever, or prove yourself. But here's the hidden layer most men never notice. She's not testing your charm. She's testing your reaction to unpredictability. Psychologically, women are wired to notice emotional stability. She's looking to see if you'll panic, overreact, or try to control her mood. It's not manipulation. It's instinctive. She's asking herself, can this man remain steady when I'm unpredictable? Because stability signals safety. It signals confidence. It signals that you can hold your own energy without needing constant validation. Here's a short scenario you might relate to. A man texts a woman 3 times in a row after she goes quiet. He's trying to show care, interest, attentiveness. But what she feels is tension. The energy says, I need you to react this way to feel secure, not attractive. Now imagine the alternative. He texts once, keeps his rhythm, and goes about his life calmly. She notices, without him doing anything extraordinary. His calmness signals control, self-possession, and value. She feels curiosity, respect, and subtle attraction. The insight here is simple, but hard for men to internalize. Calmness builds desire. Over-effort builds doubt. So what's the solution or mindset shift. Anchor yourself in presence, not reaction. Recognize that her behavior is not a reflection of your worth. It's her natural testing mechanism. Shift from, I have to impress, I'm already enough. When you operate from self-assurance, your calm radiates. It signals that your life doesn't revolve around her reactions. It revolves around your values and choices. Observe, don't chase. When she pulls back, instead of responding immediately or trying to win her back, pause. See what she's signaling. Stay grounded. Let curiosity and patience guide you. And here's the subtle truth most men miss. Charm can attract attention, but calmness attracts commitment. It's the man who can stay steady, confident, and composed under subtle testing who becomes magnetic, not the man who reacts to every ripple, text, or hesitation. So here's the emotional cliffhanger that loops us to section 3. If women are drawn to calmness over charm, why do so many men sabotage attraction without realizing it? Because the answer isn't in how you look or how funny you are, it's in the energy you carry. 3. Men lose women by trying too hard, not by being too honest. Let me ask you a hard question. How many times have you over-explained yourself, justified your feelings, or tried to fix the dynamic with a woman, only to feel more distant from her afterward? I want you to picture a common scenario. You like her, you've been patient, but somewhere along the way, anxiety creeps in. She didn't text back fast enough. She laughed a little too softly. Maybe she seemed distracted. And suddenly, your mind floods with thoughts. Is she losing interest? Did I say something wrong? Do I need to explain myself? So you try harder. You send a long, thoughtful text. You pour your feelings out. You explain why you care, why you're invested, why she should notice you. You're honest, brutally honest. And yet, her energy feels like it's drifting. Maybe she responds, maybe she doesn't. But something in the interaction subtly shifts. You feel confusion, frustration, and doubt. Here's the truth most men never hear. Honesty isn't the problem. Effort without emotional grounding is. Psychologically, women aren't looking for an explanation. They're watching your energy, your emotional reaction, your ability to stay steady. When you try too hard to explain or justify, you reveal tension, neediness, and insecurity. And those are the subtle cues that trigger doubt, not attraction. Let me break it down. Over-efforting signals. I need this to work. I can't be okay if it doesn't. Emotional steadiness signals. I like you, I'm interested, but my life and value aren't dependent on your reaction. See the difference? It's subtle, but it's magnetic. One draws someone in, the other pushes them away. Here's a short story. A man I know fell for a woman he met through work. He texted constantly, complimented her, offered to drive across the city to see her, and poured out long, heartfelt messages. She was polite but distant. One day she said, "You're nice, but I feel like you're trying too hard." That's the exact moment he realized. All his honesty and effort hadn't been the problem. His neediness disguised as effort had. So what's the mindset shift? Lead with self-possession, not explanation. When you're tempted to over-explain, pause. Ask yourself, am I sharing this because I want her to understand or because I need her validation? Focus on quality over quantity. One well-timed, grounded message beats 10 anxious, over-earnest texts. Calm energy beats frantic effort. Let attraction flow naturally. If you stay anchored in your life and values, she notices. She feels the pull of curiosity and respect. You don't have to chase it. Now, here's the wake-up call most men desperately need. Trying too hard isn't love. It's fear. And fear is the silent killer of attraction. Many men think they're showing care or commitment by over-efforting, but what they're really showing is a lack of inner calm, and women can feel it immediately. So the next time you feel yourself panicking, explaining, or justifying, stop, take a breath, center yourself, respond from confidence, not anxiety. And here's the cliffhanger question that naturally leads to section 4. If honesty isn't the problem and effort can backfire, what deeper qualities does a woman actually respond to when she feels truly connected, beyond charm, text frequency, or words? Because what comes next is where most men overlook the subtle cues that create real attraction. 4. The quiet power of letting her notice you first. Here's a question many men overlook. Why does it feel like the more you pursue, the less you're seen? Think about it. You've met someone who intrigues you. Maybe you've been attentive, thoughtful, even playful. But no matter how many gestures, messages, or invitations you send, she seems slightly distant, not unavailable, just observing. And your first instinct is to close the gap, text more, call more, prove your interest. But here's the subtle truth most men don't grasp. Women feel attraction when they notice a man on their own terms, when curiosity is sparked, not when effort is forced. Let me give you a scenario you'll recognize. A man goes on a few dates. He buys thoughtful gifts, compliments her constantly, and always suggests the next plan. She appreciates it, but she doesn't feel the spark. Later, he decides to step back, stop initiating constantly, focus on his own interests, and maintain calm confidence. Within days, she reaches out first, suggests meeting up, and engages with enthusiasm he hadn't seen before. Why does this happen? It's psychology. Women respond to autonomy and challenge in a safe space. When a man is constantly pursuing, it signals a need, even if unintentional. That need can create subtle tension, anxiety, and reduced attraction. But when a man steps back, maintains his own rhythm, and doesn't chase validation, he signals self-possession. That draws her in naturally. Here's the key insight. Attraction isn't created by effort alone. It's created by emotional spacing. Think about it like a dance. If you rush in constantly, you step on her toes. If you pause, stay grounded, and let her move, she notices your stability and begins to approach you willingly. The dynamic shifts from, "I need her to see me," to, "She wants to see me." Practical mindset shifts to apply today. Focus on your life first. Pursue your passions, goals, and friendships. Let your world feel full and intentional without her. This isn't ignoring her. It's creating emotional gravity that draws her in. Limit reactive communication. Instead of answering instantly to every text, consider timing your responses naturally. This isn't a game. It's a subtle signal that your energy is grounded. Observe without chasing. When she notices you, when she initiates, your presence has more impact than any compliment or gesture you could offer. Be consistent in who you are. Calm, steady energy combined with subtle confidence signals maturity, reliability, and security, qualities that older women in particular notice deeply. Here's a subtle but important life lesson many men miss. Attraction isn't a sprint, it's a rhythm, and the man who lets her notice him first often sets the pace for the connection itself. Now here's the emotional loop to carry into section 5. If letting her notice you first creates curiosity and connection, what is it about deeper thought, calm presence, and patience that makes a man truly irresistible, beyond charm, text frequency, or even effort? Because the answer isn't a trick, a strategy, or a pickup line. It's a mindset that transforms how women feel around you in the long term. 5. Why women follow the man who moves slow but thinks deep. Here's a question few men ever consider. Why do some men seem to attract attention effortlessly, while others who try just as hard never seem to make a lasting impression? Think about it. You've seen men who are quiet, deliberate, maybe even a little mysterious, and yet women seem naturally drawn to them. Contrast that with the man who talks a lot, texts constantly, or over-explains himself. He's earnest, yes, but somehow less magnetic. The reason isn't luck, and it isn't just looks. It comes down to what women feel, not what they hear. Let me give you a scenario. A man I know rarely initiates contact, but is thoughtful when he does. He doesn't rush decisions, doesn't panic if plans change, and keeps his life full of his own purpose. The women he meets are intrigued, curious, and invested, often without realizing why. It's not about charm or being clever. It's about depth meeting calm presence. Psychologically, this works because women are wired to sense emotional competence and self-possession. When a man moves slow but thinks deeply, he signals. He is not reactive to her every action. He holds his energy. He evaluates situations before responding. He respects himself and her. He prioritizes long-term connection over instant validation. He demonstrates foresight and stability. This kind of energy is rare because so many men overvalue immediate results. They chase reactions, approvals, and attention. They want to feel wanted, seen, or needed right away. And in doing so, they inadvertently communicate insecurity, which repels attraction. Here's the insight. Women are drawn to men who lead with thoughtfulness, not impulse, curiosity, not desperation, and presence, not performance. Practical steps to embody this mindset. Slow down your interactions. Don't rush to fill every silence. Let pauses happen. Let her curiosity grow. Think before you respond. Instead of reacting to every text or comment, consider your energy and your intent. Respond from calmness, not anxiety. Prioritize substance over style. Focus on meaningful conversations, consistent values, and steady energy, rather than trying to impress with jokes, gifts, or charm alone. Embrace patience. True attraction is rarely instant. It builds over time when a man's energy is consistent, thoughtful, and intentional. Here's the life lesson men rarely hear. Attraction is less about speed and more about depth. Less about trying to control and more about inviting curiosity. Less about doing everything right and more about simply being the man who is grounded in himself. Now, here's the subtle emotional cliffhanger that prepares the audience for the conclusion. If women are drawn to calm, thoughtful, emotionally grounded men, what one secret mindset shift could transform every interaction you have, turning effort into magnetic presence and curiosity into real connection? Because the truth is, attraction isn't a formula, a trick, or a performance. It's a reflection of the man's inner energy, his calm confidence, and his ability to move deliberately while thinking deeply. And understanding this changes everything, not just how women see you, but how you see yourself. A statement most men would never expect to hear. Women don't fall for effort, charm, or speed. They fall for presence, calm, and emotional depth. I know that might feel unsettling. You've been taught that doing more, saying more, proving yourself more is the way to connect. And the truth is, it's the opposite. The man who understands that attraction is about energy, not effort, immediately sets himself apart. So here's my message to you, directly. You don't need to chase, explain, or overperform to be noticed. You need to own your calm, your values, and your presence. Show curiosity without desperation. Move deliberately without panic. Think deeply without overanalyzing. And trust that when you do, women notice, often in ways you might never see, but that build connection quietly, steadily, and powerfully. I want you to pause and reflect. What would change if today you stopped trying to prove your value and simply became the man whose energy naturally draws women in? Share your experiences in the comments. Tell me about moments when presence mattered more than effort or when patience created curiosity. Let's talk about it. Your story matters. and it helps other men see the patterns they might be missing. Remember this: attraction isn't earned through effort. It's revealed through the calm, confident presence you carry into every interaction. Absorb that. Let it guide you. And watch how your relationships and the way women respond to you quietly transform.